this regular council meeting, work session, and regular council meeting to order. Let's rise for a moment of silence. Let's remember former Councilman Anthony Musey, who passed away last week. He battled for a long time with dialysis and heart disease, and he had open heart surgery and never made it through. He made it through the surgery, but died within an hour of surgery. So I'd like to honor him tonight and also remember Chief Henry's father, who also passed away last week also. Please salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gerard.
Present.
Mr. Ricchio.
Here.
Mr. Devine.
Here.
Mr. Pezza.
He's teaching. He has a back-to-school night tonight at the college.
Ms. Cullen.
Here.
Rodriguez is ill. Mr. Catroci.
Present.
Here. Okay, before we get started, the mayor has a proclamation for
Adult daycare. I'd like to have Tony Bometry come up. I don't have to hold his hand. Bometry is the activities director at the Bristol Adult Daycare Center at the other end of town by Wawa. And I'm going to read a proclamation. Borough Council, Mayor, the Borough of Bristol, County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, recognizing and commending Adult Day of Bristol for 20 years of service to the Borough of Bristol. Whereas Adult Day of Bristol has brought pride to themselves and to the borough by their efforts and accomplishments, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Borough Council and the Mayor of Bristol Borough that Adult Daycare be publicly recognized and congratulated for its 20 years of service. Furthermore, the Council and the Mayor of the Borough of Bristol hereby honor and recognize September 16th through September 22nd as Adult Day Services Week, duly proclaimed as 10th day of September. Ralph D. Giuseppe, President Council, and Mayor Joe Saxton.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's another service that is offered in our town and a much-needed service. Ms. Bometry, you have anything you'd like to say?
Thank you.
Give her a microphone.
Oh, it's okay. I don't need a microphone. I don't think.
It's not for you. It's for home.
Oh, for home. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say that Active Day is an adult day care provider for people. Ranges 22 is our youngest. Our oldest was 100. Now he's 97. We lost our 100-year-old just after Christmas. And it is a wonderful program where we enhance the lives of people at the end of their life. And we are open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Stop by anytime. The Tuesday during this Adult Day Services Week, we'll be grilling barbecue hamburgers for anybody who'd like to stop by. We're located right behind the fire company. And thank you so much. I love being a part of this town, being born and raised here and now working here in my life. I do appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So I don't tie you up.
Thank you, Council President Sept, members of Council, administration. I'm here on behalf of the AOC to promote the AOC's 8th annual Bristol Fall Classic, which happens to fall on November 17th this year, and to request usage of the borough's public works facility for this purpose. As you know, we've had prior years Fall Classics at the public works facility. We find it extremely well designed for what we need to do. It's a beautiful facility, and it's an opportunity for townspeople to come in and just see, you know, basically what we have to offer there. I mean, it is, and the staff can't be any more accommodating, including Borough Manager Jim Dillon. This year's person we're recognizing is Dave Harris. As you know, I'm sure everyone does know, Dave is a proud graduate of Bristol High. He's also president of Harris Fuel. Harris Fuel is a fourth-generation borough-owned and operated small business which delivers air conditioning, heating, oil, and home comfort services. Dave's very interested and involved in the community, not only here but in Bristol Township. And Harris Fuel, for whom he works, have been very instrumental in such non-for-profits as the Bristol Rotary, Bristol Lions Club, the Rescue Squad, and the Borough Recreation Authority, just to name a few. Tickets will be available and on sale at Graded D's by Ann Mignoni Jewelry Store and the Bristol Borough Tax Office. Tickets are $50 a piece, and we encourage everyone to attend. So at this time, again, I want to thank the council for its previous year's usage of the facility, and again, request permission to once again use it for the Bristol Fall Classic. We hope members of the community will support Bruce and Dave, the Harris Fuel family, by attending this important community fundraiser. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll answer any questions you may have on the Bristol Fall Classic this year.
Anybody have any questions for Gene? We'll make that an agenda item tonight, Gene, and vote on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Good evening, Mr. President and Council. My name is Kevin Maroney. I'm the Managing Director at Bristol Riverside Theater. I have 2 quick points. The first show of our main stage season is starting next week at Wits End, the Irma Bombeck, a play about Irma Bombeck. The first, as I'm sure you know, but I'm here to remind you, the first 2 shows, the previews on Tuesday and Wednesday night, we have $5 tickets available to borough residents. So they can come into the theater to buy those tickets or give us a call, and we'd be happy to have as many borough residents as we can have for those $5 tickets for those 2 performances. The second order of business, I wanted to introduce you to Miss Leisha Watson, who is actually starring as Irma Bombeck in the show. So I just wanted to introduce her to the council. We also are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You want to give us a preview?
I would like to say, if I may, I have loved being here. I've been here 2 weeks today. This is, and I can say it here, I can't say it on Facebook because I don't want to offend Amana, Iowa, where I have worked, and I don't want to offend Macon, Missouri, which is a beautiful little town as well. This is my favorite little town I've ever worked in. It is just amazing. I'm on foot all the time, just going and exploring. The river is gorgeous. Your restaurants are ridiculous. They're just, I haven't had anything here yet that I don't like. So anyway, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope to see you at the show.
It's great to hear.
You looked amazing walking up here. I knew you were special.
Great.
Kevin, this is the Bristol, anybody from Bristol, that's the money that we donate every year.
Correct. So this is for Bristol Borough residents, $5 tickets for our preview shows.
And how much are they normally?
Say again?
How much are the normal tickets?
It depends. They're usually between $40 and $50.
So borough residents could save money by going the first 2 nights. That was our goal, to get people that really couldn't afford it to show up for $5. I think it's a great program that council put in place, and I know a lot of people from Bristol use it.
Absolutely. It's very helpful to have a full theater. It's for Leisha to be able to perform in front of a full theater for the first couple of shows. It's during the previews that they can make adjustments, that they may make adjustments before the opening night on Thursday. So it's very helpful to us, actually, to have a large crowd. So we
Good.
hope the borough residents come out.
Good. Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Chief.
Couple things. We had, from a police perspective, all the festivals went very smoothly, and the Mill Street Run. crossing guards received their annual safety training from Sergeant Fate, and thanks to the council for upping our part-time contingency. We had school openings, extra officers out, and everything went without an incident, which was nice to report. Sergeant Rivera completed the ALICE training, which is a school safety program that is now the national standard for school response. And we delivered the orientation to Bristol schools, and we'll be delivering the orientation to St. Mark's. And that is a program that requires a prerequisite training by the teachers, and then we'll be going into the schools and teaching the blocks for each of those schools. I attended a juvenile conference on school threats and violence at the Bucks County Juvenile Court System with the hierarchy of the juvenile justice system. The mayor and I met with the Woman's Place Steering Committee, the shelter and domestic violence outreach program that for women in need, and they're looking to become much more active in our area, and that was a good thing. I know Councilwoman Rodriguez isn't here tonight, but there was some issues with the North Ward regarding some fireworks, and we were afraid of this with the new law that would come out. Some people were getting a little bit overzealous with some large ordinance. We did locate an individual that was setting them off. He was cited, and hopefully they'll take care of that. State law, again, says no fireworks can be discharged within 150 feet of any residence. So in the borough of Bristol, if you can find a place to do that, let me know. So please. And the one thing that we're going to speak about, Mr. Dillon, I want to handle this. I gave Mr. Dillon a memo today regarding the Bucks County Casino grant request for those grants. And because as part of that program that I outlined for everybody, that's requested to have a resolution tonight. So I want to address that. I want to handle that because that's a time frame.
Any questions for the chief? Chief, thank you. All right, I'm going to open up public participation. Anybody on this side of the room want to speak on anything, go to the podium, state your name and address. Anybody on this side of the room?
I'm Jacqueline Marish. I live at 205 Pond Street across the street, and I'm just here to say a few words. September 2015, my vehicle parked in the Grundy Tower parking lot was vandalized shortly after midnight and stolen within 6 hours due to a police officer's gross neglect of professionalism. Most of you know the rest of the story because I came regularly to council meetings to chronicle for public record my ongoing efforts to hold the former police chief and responding officer accountable, since the former mayor and no one else was. An interesting note to all of this was that while I was contacting state officials and the DA's office, an individual in the borough approached me as I was walking in Bristol, stated that they had been following my situation via televised council meetings and encouraged me to do 3 things. Keep going, don't stop, keep going. Apparently, being a longtime borough resident, as I am not, they must have been aware of the scandal and subsequent successful lawsuits brought against the police department. Timing is everything. For all the walking I do in Bristol, I've never encountered that individual again. But to that individual who stopped me on the street, please know I was grateful for your support and encouragement. It was the only positive encouragement I received. The former police chief resigned. The officer who lied in his written report and failed to notify me of the vandalism is, at least as of a few months ago, still employed on the police department. The former mayor is also gone. Nationwide, many police departments are held in low regard. Many neither respected nor trusted. One does not need to ponder long to figure out why. Which brings me to my message to this council and to the residents of the borough. Our current police chief was hired in the midst of my civilian police complaint. Immediately, he faced a low standard or lack of standard of police policies and operational procedures consistent with high-quality professionalism to which he was accustomed. Upon his hiring, he was given a mandate to develop procedures where none even existed under the prior police chief and department. He was also given the mandate to revise current procedures which he had inherited. Change does not come easily for any of us when we're asked to undo routines that have become habits. Since his hiring in 2016, I have become aware of efforts to upgrade the level of functioning within the police department. July 17th of this year, I saw it in action. I had occasion to contact the police regarding a situation in the early evening at the wharf. I observed firsthand the length of response time, less than 3 minutes, before a patrol car responded. I observed details of the officer's approach to the situation, how he drove to the area, where he parked, the length of the time controlling the situation. I observed all this from a safe distance, but I observed it nevertheless. This was handled so well that the next morning I called the mayor and said, I have to come in and tell you about this positive police interaction I had. Then about 2 weeks later, also at the wharf, I spend a lot of time at the wharf, I had occasion to observe someone else contact the police. Again, I observed details such as the quickness of response time, the number of officers responding, their method of handling and resolving the situation with the individual. Again, it was a very positive observation. This council and borough residents need to be aware of the upgraded quality of police work. Not that all the officers had to learn new habits, but certainly the one in my situation had to, as well as ones from previous problematic behaviors and lawsuits. So I say, kudos to Chief Henry and Mayor Saxton. They make a good team. I say to the council and borough residents, Chief Henry is a keeper. And now, to those with the snide remarks bouncing around in their heads as to who puts me up to this and why am I saying this and what am I getting out of it, I'm going to answer you. First, who put me up to this? Their name is no one. No one knew I was going to speak tonight. No one needs to respond to what I'm saying. No one asked me to attend these meetings. No one asked me to report on these meetings to anyone. No one asked me to even speak at any of these meetings. And no one has to agree with what I'm saying. I'm here on my own. I owe no one anything. I was on my own then, and I'm on my own now. So, to the what and why am I doing this? Here's the what and the why. Here's what I'm getting. Here's why I'm doing this. Trust in and respect for Chief Henry and his ability to hold the police department accountable. In my opinion, that's what all the residents of this borough are getting now. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
That was very nice.
It was. Chief Henry's
Okay.
probably going to ask for a raise now.
Okay, that ends public, does anybody else want to speak? That ends public participation. Okay, Tony, what do you have?
I don't have anything. Two things here. The AOH has asked me to mention that they are holding their 6th annual Team Gene Horseshoe Tournament. Proceeds from the tournament go to the Gene Chapcott Memorial Scholarship Fund. The tournament's being held this Saturday, September 15th, at the AOH on Corson and Buckley Street. Registration starts at 10 a.m. and the tournament begins at 11. Costs are $35 for players and $15 for spectators. That includes food, beer, and cash prizes for the winners. And on another note, late in July, Senator Tommy Tomlinson set up a conference call with his office, the borough, and several PennDOT officials in regards to speeding and recent accidents on Radcliffe Street. At that time, I offered to make myself available to the PennDOT officials when they would come into town. On August 22nd, I met with Vince Serbone, PennDOT Traffic Control Specialist and Safety Supervisor, and his associate. He already had someone do a traffic and speed study on Radcliffe Street. We discussed some of the problems with accidents ranging from broken mirrors to totaled cars and even a fatality. During the 2 hours, he witnessed some examples of speeding and distracted driving. He complimented the borough on many of the steps they've already taken, including the strictly enforced signs that are underneath the speed limit signs, the flashing light on the bend near the St. Mark's Church, and he was impressed that the Grundy Library put out the pedestrian warning sign daily and had a crossing guard there in the afternoon when the library was busiest. He said he will personally contact he will conduct another traffic and speed study. He said there may be some things that PennDOT can do and suggest as long as the borough is in agreement to maintain them. These things are like road markings where it would say 25 mph actually applied to the street, road hash marks near some of the corners that are encroached by parked cars and cause problems. And he will have more information in September. And he will also keep Senator Tommy Tomlinson's office in the loop. That's all I have today.
Yes, thank you. After last month's meeting, I have had several phone calls, conversations with Bernard to see if I could help him with his parking situation at Canal Works. I said, you heard the borough say that they wanted $1 a day. I then asked him, I said, how many days a month do you need the extra parking? He told me 20 days a month, Monday through Friday, not on the weekends. So I said, that's 600 hours a month. I said, what was your offer? He said, 300 hours a month. Sounds to me, if everyone compromises, 450 is the magic number. He was agreeable to this. And I would urge council to accept 450 a month for 30 parking spots, and here's why. Number one, no impact on the skating rink parking lot. They're not going to be doing any damage by parking on it. Number two, minimum impact on the skating rink schedule. Most of his cars will be gone by 5 o'clock, no cars on the weekends. At $450 a month, that's $5,400 a year, basically free money. And number four, most importantly, Bernard assures me that with 30 more parking spots, he will be able to bring 40 to 50 more jobs to the borough. Think about that, 40 to 50 more jobs. Some of these jobs might go to Bristol people who could walk to work or ride a bicycle. The other good thing about 40 or 50 jobs in the borough is that these people might have breakfast in town, lunches, dinners, and possibly shop in town. Again, minimum impact, free money, $5,400, 40 to 50 jobs. It's a win-win for the businessman and the borough. This fits raising the bar motto to a T. Bristol is a great place to live, work, shop, and play. This deal would cover it all. So on these statements, I would like to make a motion to put this agreement, 30 parking spots Monday through Friday at $450 a month with a 5-year agreement on the agenda for a vote. I'm hoping that not only will I get a second, but also a unanimous yes vote. Thank you.
Just so you know, council can't vote on that because it's the authority controls that, not council.
With the Recreation Authority?
The authority for the rink. And Bernard's well aware of that. So he's got to go to, you can go to an authority meeting and speak to them.
Didn't the council override the Historic Society?
Well, they haven't made it.
Sorry?
You want to explain it? No, the authority is appointed to run the ice skate rink. The council has no authority over them, other than appointing them. This is something that needs to be dealt with at the authority level. You may want to go to their meeting, have Mr. Mizalki approach them. They've been working on this for years, but this is not a council matter. We don't have jurisdiction even to vote on this.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Tony?
Yeah, I have a couple things. The first thing, I want to also thank the chief for getting back to me and for his promise to keep monitoring the situation on New Buckley and Washington.
Just to add that business is, we confirmed it this morning, is closed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the one on Washington Street, so that should take care of it.
Okay. All right, I appreciate it. The next issue that I have is, Mr. Dillon, I know we talked about this Garden Street jungle that's growing from the Amtrak fence that they built up there. Now, the argument that Council Dave and I have made for that area has kind of been the same the whole time. We have Amtrak that put a fence there, and their reasoning was that it was to protect, people from going up there, or, act of terrorism or whatever. Now, the problem is they never finished anything. The other side of the tracks is still wide open. So that whole the idea that it's there to protect or do whatever hasn't done anything but create an eyesore for the residents on Gordon Street. Now, the people on Gordon Street know that they live next to a track. They bought their house and they understand what they were getting into. What they didn't realize they were getting into was the overgrowth of weeds and trees and everything else that goes in there. Now, Mr. Dillon, I know that we talked about it. It's Amtrak's fence and it's their, property or whatever. But to me, I don't feel it's the residents' job to go over. Now, some of them do go over and they cut that grass or they cut those weeds back. But I don't feel that it's the residents' job to do that. I think as a borough, we should go over there and take care of that eyesore for these people. It's the only thing that's right. Now, I know what the argument's going to be. It's not our property. We can't just go over there. We don't take care of their property. But that's not true either, because the other side of the tracks is Amtrak's property, but we cut that grass on those sidewalks. So, to me, there's no reason why our guys can't go over there and cut that grass. Is there something that, that I'm missing, Mr. Dillon?
No, you're not missing anything.
Okay, so is that something that we could ask our maintenance guys to go over there and hit that area for these residents on Gordon Street?
No, I don't think we have the staff to maintain that. Most of the people cut it themselves. Those few areas that haven't been cut, it's a natural grass. I mean, maybe some of them are not objecting to it, but no, it's not the borough's responsibility. I'll notify Amtrak that some residents want that cut.
I wouldn't say that some residents, and to me it doesn't sound like that you're very motivated to get this done. I don't think
I think it's a waste of taxpayers' money. We have very limited amount of taxpayers' money to get things done.
Well, I think that we pay our maintenance guys rather well to maintain some of the, some of the things that we have in the borough. And this is a major problem for the people in the North Ward. So, I mean, to me, to say that it's a waste of taxpayers' dollars, I think that's very far from the truth. I don't think it would take much manpower to go over there and cut whatever you got to cut. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know Dave went over there a couple times to do it for residents, but I don't think that it's Dave's job either to go over there and cut people's grass or Amtrak's grass because they don't want to take care of it. Just because we should be able to go over there and...
What I said to him was, I'll do it one time, as long as you promise to keep up with it. And I have to say, most of the people on Garden Street have kept that promise.
They've done a great job. I agree, most of them have, yes.
And one other topic here, Mr. Dillon and Mr. Devine, if you push Amtrak, as Merle will tell you, their solution to grass and trees is poison, okay? The people over there, Tony Beruzio, Central Plumbing, myself, my sister, a bunch of people that live along the tracks do not want that grass sprayed with poison. We have grandkids, kids, animals, and that's what they do. If you push them, they spray. They won't send a crew out. I guess it's too costly to do it the old-fashioned way. So I don't know what that dilemma, it's like a catch-22. You push them, they poison you. It's not a good situation to be in, and if people are able to cut the grass with a weed whacker, I think it's a lot healthier, and hopefully a lot of people can stay with it.
Okay, but Dave, the problem with that is, I understand what you're saying, right? The problem with it is this: you're telling residents to go over there and cut grass that isn't theirs, right?
But pride in the street looks great.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Pride in the street. I take care of my bridge under there. I've been shoveling that snow and taking care of the bridge, because I live there. I want the bridge, people walk with their kids to school, it looks nice. I don't mind doing it, I live there. It's just personal pride where you live.
And the amazing part is, most of it's taken care of. There's a few that's not.
Yeah, just a few that's not. And it's kind of funny, because when I ride by, I always look over like, what's wrong with those people?
Right.
Everybody else is doing
Or
it,
you
why
would
can't
think
they
if
do it?
they're elderly or something, somebody would just do it, but,
I know Bert Barbetta does a lot. He doesn't just do in front of his, he does all
Joe,
the way.
And listen, I talked to Bert, and do you think Bert wants to wake up and cut all those?
I didn't say that he did.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm just
But I'm just
commenting.
asking you, I'm saying, because you're saying things
Who is?
about, you said.
He's a cousin of mine, and I talk to him all the
I'm
time.
not saying
And I
anything
realize-
negative.
Whatever.
I'm
You
glad,
ain't trying
I
to-
talked to him.
Good, I'm glad.
That's all, I just want to
Good for
finish.
you.
what else
Can
you
you
got?
can you stop acting so juvenile?
Yeah,
Seriously.
when you do.
All right, guys.
When
let's
you
go.
do.
Well, let me move forward. All right, so anyway, I talked to Mr. Barbetta. Whether he's your cousin or not, okay, it's not, to me, it's not a resident's job to have to go over there and cut other people's,
But why is it
Say
the
it
borough's
was.
job then?
what do you mean? Because
It's not our ground either.
we are
That's
a
like-
borough, it's our job to take care of the residents.
But
So
I'm not
it's-
saying,
I would rather it be on us
okay.
than on
I
residents going
think
over there.
Mr. Dillon said he's gonna contact
All
Amtrak.
right, I understand what that means, thanks.
What else do you have?
The other thing I would like to do, I know that he told us about the casino money isn't going to be things that we could do for kind of recreation and the basketball courts. And I know that the chief has some things that money would be good for in terms of police cameras, the body cameras, and some other things that would work there. I would like to be able to set aside $100,000 that we can renovate those basketball courts over there at the old tennis courts. All the things that we do in in this town, it really doesn't have anything to do with kids and giving things to keep kids active, busy, and positive. All the things that we do are catered toward the older people. We have the doo-wop, we have all the events, we have the wharf down there, we have all these things that we're doing, and they're great things and they're nice things, but it never is the benefit of the kids. And I just think, going there and renovating that piece of property, you know, I think you get a lot done with $100,000. And I think that we spend money on a lot of things, and I would like to see it spent, you know, to help kids, keep them busy and positive things, stay out of trouble.
100,000 are you talking about?
I'm just saying, to set aside $100,000
From where?
from our budget.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the budget.
Yeah, I'm not talking
I
about,
thought you're talking about casino.
no. I know the casino money, they, you
All right,
know.
so budget time, we'll discuss it.
All right, that's all.
But as far as us not doing anything for kids,
It's not a knock. I know you're gonna get
Not enough.
defensive. Listen, it's,
we got a program that the Grundy Foundation runs for a summer camp. At Little League, we cut the grass, we help them out as much as we can. Now, I don't know what, you know, if there's other programs you want to implement, we're helping out the basketball program that Nikki Nastasi runs. So if there's anything else that you want to implement, just bring it up. We're always in favor of helping kids.
okay.
You know, if you want to come up with a new program, that's fine. But right now, we got basketball, baseball, and education. So I don't know what else you want to do. What else do you have?
That's it.
Lorraine?
Mr. Dillon, have you heard from Mr. White what's going on at Mill Run?
Not in the last week or so, but they are doing internal work with the steel beams and all, but their goal is fall of 2019 to be open, so I think there is progress there.
A lot of people ask about that building, and they're concerned, because it doesn't look like anything's going on there. I mean, I don't see anything, but,
Aren't you part of the committee? Didn't you spearhead it?
excuse me.
I'm only asking.
Also, the food kitchen that's on Wood Street needs food. They've been asking for supplies, so if anybody has any extra cans or non-perishable items that you could bring, it would be, you know, very well needed. Also, I wanted to talk about the St. Anne Fair and thank all of the volunteers that come out and work at that fair. It's like a big family. It keeps growing, and it was a very successful week. We were lucky weather-wise, and also, I think we should really acknowledge all that Ralph and his wife do for the fair, and Father Mooney as well. I also want to talk about Anthony Musey, who we lost. When I came on to council, you don't know a lot of things when you come here. You know, you really don't. And I would say to Anthony, I don't know what's going on, you know, can you help me out? And Lorraine, relax, you're fine, you're going to be fine, just, you know, ask me any questions and I'll be there for you, you know. And he really was. And Saturday is the due-up, and it's going to be a rough night for everybody because Anthony spearheaded that due-up for many years, and he took pride in it. And even when he was sick, he sat there throughout the whole concert, and he just ran everything, and it always went really well. So I think we should dedicate that night to Anthony. That's all.
Joe?
Yeah, a couple things. Sorry to report that we're losing one of our better officers, Officer Lawrence Hardy. He's taking a full-time job in Middletown. He's a dedicated police officer and did an outstanding job for us at the time he was here. I wish him a lot of luck on his new assignment. The chief and I have been looking at the budget as the borough manager had requested us to put together items we want to talk about in the 2019 budget. We're not going through the 2018 budget, but we look like we're in really good shape to stay at or below budget, and we've submitted some projects for the casino grant, which is a borough video camera system, which is to upgrade the cameras that we have throughout the town, police command vehicle, and police body camera project. So that'll all be things that you'll be looking at in the upcoming budget. Also, too, I want to thank the chief and Officer Fate. This was the handbook that our crossing guards received. You know, when we talked about procedures earlier, you know, it's a nice book. It goes through all the things that they're required to do, general rules, how to be professional and so forth. And these are the type of things that I think the council was looking for. Let's see. Chief Slack wasn't able to be here tonight. His company had an important meeting, had to attend. We had a fire board meeting last week, or 2 weeks ago, and the chiefs discussed one of the challenges that they run into is when they get a working fire and they have electricity in the building and they're waiting for PICO. There's a standard practice, it used to be a standard practice, of what we call pulling the meter. And we had an extensive discussion, pictures and so forth, that unless, you know, it's an immediate hazard to life, we're not going to pull the meters, we're going to wait for PICO to get there. Unless, and we do have one or two of our firemen are electricians and have the equipment that they could do that. Sometimes it runs into a problem, you know, PICO around another calls, it might take them 20 minutes or half an hour to get there. And we just can't sit outside and let the place burn down. So that was that and our safety team, which centers around how we make improvements under workman's comp, which is a benefit to the borough and the fire companies if we're able to get this safety team. And I think this is our 4th meeting off the ground. They'll come in and audit us, and hopefully it'll save 5% on our workman's comp. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me real quick, Mr. Mayor, the one thing to mention is the continuing with the selection process of a new part-time officer, the permission to go forward with psychological and interview and background investigations on some candidates.
I have on my notes to put on the agenda to hire tonight, based on everything, unless you could wait till October.
You can wait till October. I just want permission to,
We do the test.
yeah, or do you need the conditional, Mr. Dillon, or is, how?
I think council could authorize the hiring subject to, you know,
All the,
Passing the test.
passing those tests.
Okay.
this way, if you need somebody, you have them.
Okay.
I think it would be a lot better for us.
Anything
Thank
else,
you.
Jim? A couple things I have. One, hopefully everybody at home has a clear feed tonight from Comcast, because they left here at 6 o'clock tonight and said that they figured out the problem. So nobody texted anybody tonight, so hopefully that's working good. The other thing is, today on Jefferson Avenue, a tractor trailer came down, and when it got to Garden Street, figured out they couldn't get under the bridge. So the guy's trying to back up, so I got out of the car and I says, did you not see the sign at the end of the street? He says, yes. But what happened was, he was trying to get into Keystone Lighting, but there's not a sign, so he thought by coming down Jefferson Avenue, he would make a left and go in from behind the baseball field, and this thing was gigantic. So I had to get cars moved, and also I asked Jim today to notify the new owner to put up a sign that says truck entrance to try to get these tractor trailers off of Jefferson Avenue. So if anybody gets any calls, hopefully this is getting resolved ASAP, and we won't have to deal with this again. The other thing is, before the meeting tonight, we discussed some personnel in executive session. I just want to put that on the record. As far as the hurricane, everybody knows it's coming. Hopefully, it's not bad here, but Merle is on top of everything. He's in contact with everybody. I think we already signed whatever papers that need to be signed for flooding and all that stuff. So stay tuned to our channel if you know you have any issues. Catherine, I know you told me not to say nothing, but I have the utmost respect for you. I really You're an amazing person. Okay, the last thing, two things. One, I'm sure everybody was aware of the rescue squad issue with the finances, and myself, the mayor, and Louis attended several meetings trying to get this worked out, and the relationships that we had with Joe Glasson and Craig Bowen, we were able to put this together to save the rescue squad again. The township had funded them, but the unsung hero that was in between all these negotiations was Tommy Tomlinson. I mean, we were going back and forth. He was calling the township, he was calling us, and we got it worked out. So the rescue squad is fully funded this year. They're going through some changes, and I wanted to bring Tommy in, hopefully in October or early November, to thank him for all the borough residents, because if they would have closed this rescue squad, and the chief for your help with this whole thing, but if they would have closed the rescue squad, or the township did not fund the rescue squad, their portion of the money would have left Bristol Borough basically without the rescue squad. And that was our argument from the beginning, and like I said, it took a lot to get this done, and the township, believe it or not, had some legitimate concerns how things were being handled. And I'm glad we came to terms, but again, I know Tommy didn't want to be in the forefront, and but he really put a lot of time and effort. Matter of fact, it's funny, one night I was out to dinner and I'm on the phone with him, my food's getting cold, and I run into somebody in the restaurant, and I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm waiting for Tommy. He's out in the car for the last hour with somebody negotiating a deal." I said, "Yeah, it was me." So, at least he ate a hot meal that night, I didn't. But again, we have a rescue squad, everything seems to be going good, and eventually we're going to bring them in and try to get them in here to let everybody know what's going on. The last thing is the doo-wop, like Lorraine said. Anthony, this was his, he put a lot of time and effort into this, and you got to give him credit. Sunday night, the night of the carnival, he was supposed to have surgery on Wednesday, and because his blood pressure, they couldn't stabilize it, they moved the surgery to Monday. It was supposed to be in the afternoon, then it was moved to 5 o'clock at night, and make a long story short, Sunday night, I talked to him from the carnival and said, "Anthony, we would all come to see you tonight before surgery, but we're all here at the carnival." And he said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "I'll see you in a few days, hopefully, things start going good. If I can't be at the doo-wop," he said, "Craig Whitaker's going to stream it to me live from the doo-wop." And, he said, "Everything's taken care of. I talked to Pete right before, yesterday." And so, I mean, even going into this, he made sure that everything was right. So I'm hoping that, he blesses us with good weather this Saturday night, and we get the doo-wop in. But again, you can't ask for a more dedicated person. And even when he sat here as a councilman, I mean, he did whatever he had to do for his ward. He was always active in his ward, and he was instrumental in putting that playground in on Jefferson Avenue, which is probably the most used playground that we have in all of Bristol. So he's going to truly be missed, and hopefully everything goes good. I'm sure he'll be looking over everybody Saturday night. So the doo-wop is this Saturday. It starts at 5 p.m. It should end by 9:30. There's 5 acts, and the rain date is Sunday at 2 p.m. So hopefully we get a nice crowd and come out and support the doo-wop and have a good time. That's what he would want everybody to have, is a good time. Mr. Dillon, have anything?
Just, if you want me to review the proposed agenda?
For tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody has an agenda, what we're going to be voting on?
Yeah.
Okay, the two resolutions for minimum municipal pension obligations are required by state law to be adopted in September of each year. I believe each of you have a copy of those resolutions. Also is we would need council to authorize the filing of applications for casino grant funding projects. The police department and the mayor have given us 3 projects. It's recommended also, besides these 3 projects being submitted to the redevelopment authority, that council also authorize an application for $25,000 to enhance and upgrade our broadcast equipment, TV broadcast equipment. And then the project to start the phase improvements to Basin and Mill Street road improvement would be in the amount of $225,000. So in essence, it's recommended that 5 applications be submitted to the RDA. Also, we received today the high bid for the used police vehicle number 8. That goes to Peter Grave in the amount of $2,550 for that used police vehicle. Also, there's a resolution that was in your packet to adopt amendment to the borough's official sewage facilities plan with regards to sewage facilities planning module for 1201 Wilson Avenue, which again is Mill Run development. Also, it's recommended, per Mr. Williams' request, that the council authorize the use of the Public Works facility for the AOC event on November 17th, as well as the hiring of part-time police officer Ian Stanley, per the conditions pointed out by the police chief. I believe that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions for the manager? One thing I did forget, this Saturday at 10 a.m. is the Fish with a Cop. So if anybody from council or anybody wants to go there and help out, you're more than welcome. It's their first year, and hopefully it's successful. And that's something, another thing that we're trying to do through the police department with, children in town. So 10 a.m. Saturday, I want to give Officer Palmer a great deal of credit to put this whole thing together. So hopefully it goes good. Bill, you have anything? No. Okay, so we can go right into, I don't have to adjourn, right? All right, so one more time, public participation. No public participation. So we're going to go into our agenda. The only thing I don't see on the agenda, which we need to add, is the hiring of this part-time police officer.
And also the AOC using the borough facility.
All right, you have them 2 things?
All right, okay, so you said hiring of,
Part-time police officer Ian Stanley,
what's his name?
I-A-N Stanley is his last name.
Okay.
Ian.
And the AOC.
I got that.
Okay, so let's go. Joe, you have anything, or I could go right?
No, go right on.
Okay, let's go to number 3 on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the council minutes of August 13, 2018, accept the treasurer's report for July 2018, to accept the police and DJ's report for August 2018, to accept the fire chief's report for August 2018, to accept the inspection department report for August 2018, to accept the public works department report for 2018, and to accept the HARB report and decisions for 8/27/18.
Second, by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the 2019 minimum municipal pension obligation for the police at $512,498.16.
Second by Mr. Ricchio. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Number 5.
Mr. President, I'd like to adopt a resolution authorizing the application for casino grant funding. Oh, wait a minute, I missed one, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Adopt a resolution authorizing 2019 minimum municipal pension obligation for the non-police, which is $553,765.39.
Second by Mr. Ricchio. Questions or comments? Mr. Devine.
Yeah, I have a question. Why would the minimum municipal pension obligation be more for non-police than police?
How this whole thing works is there's an actuary who figures out how many people are retired, what the cost is going to be, the length of your life expectancy. So they take all this into consideration, how many people are collecting. So this is the minimum obligation. And this is two numbers that, if you notice, are a couple $100,000 more than they were last year. So it's something that we really need to figure out during budget time. No. Pension funds are just getting out of hand right now. So you can see how much they went up from last year. Any other questions or comments? All those, it's something by law we have to do tonight too. So it's not like we just put it on the agenda. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing application for casino grant funding.
Five applications.
I'm sorry, 5 applications for casino grant funding.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Number 7.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the sale of the used police vehicle number 8 for $2,550.
Second. Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? Mr. Devine.
Yeah, I got a question. These used police vehicles, do they go to other municipalities or just anybody could buy them?
Put that on the municipal bid list, which is computer generated. Anybody can bid throughout the state, throughout the country.
Okay, so that's why sometimes I see people driving around look like cop cars, undercover cop cars, they paint them or something.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing amendment to the Borough Official Sewer Facilities Plan, Act 537 Plan, with regards to the sewer facilities planning module for 1201 Wilson Avenue development.
I have a second. Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? Mr. Devine.
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, I read it, I don't even understand what I read, but I know when I hear amendment, I'm assuming that this is going to be something that's going to help protect the borough and not make something easier or something for the, for this.
Kurt, you want to explain it to Tony?
The planning module this is what we were talking about last month with Bernard's project. It's basically a plan that we have to submit to DEP, and whenever you have new people or expansions adding to your sewer system, you have to amend that plan and DEP has to approve it. So this is authorizing the borough to essentially amend a plan that will allow DEP to issue a permit to this project.
Gotcha. Thanks, Kurt.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before we get into 9, because it's going to take a while, why don't we go to 10 and 11, Maureen?
Okay, I'd like to suspend the rules to...
No, you don't have to.
Oh, I don't, okay. See, I needed somebody here to help me. I'd like to make a motion to hire a new part-time police officer, Ian Stanley.
with the understanding that he passes all his physicals and
With the
psychological
understanding
testing.
that he passes physical and verbal and psychological testing.
I have a second. Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to allow the AOC to use the Borough Works facility for the Fall Classic.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, I got the list here to fill these boards and commissions, so I'm going to start with the Recreation Authority. There's one term that expired. Do we want to reappoint, or I need a nomination?
I'd like to reappoint Virginia Poliaco.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor? Opposed? There's a term expired on 1/1/18.
I'd like to reappoint Francis DiRenzo.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor? Opposed? The next one expired on 1/1/18.
I'd like to propose Craig Whitaker for the Civil Service Commission.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. Roll call vote.
Okay. Mr. Gerard,
Chet DeMarcus.
Mr. Ricchio, Mr. Devine,
Sept DeMarcus.
Ms. Cullen,
Craig Whitaker.
Mr. Catroci,
Craig Whitaker.
Mr. Di Giuseppe.
Craig Whitaker. So it's a 3-3 tie, and since the other two council members aren't here, the mayor gets an opportunity to break the tie.
They go down in history.
Mayor?
Craig Whitaker.
Craig Whitaker. Okay, the Historic Architectural Review Board. Regina Swift has resigned, so I need a nomination for that seat.
I'd like to nominate Joe Wachowski.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody's talking tonight.
I am.
Next one is Historical Review Board is...
I'd like to nominate Paul Marchese Jr.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Could anybody speak up?
Aye.
I did.
Well, I don't know if anybody's voting no or not. None of
They
you
would say
guys
it.
got to say something.
Well, that's certainly a done deal, they're just not, we just go along with it.
Environmental
We're just going through the motions, so.
Committee.
Mr. President, I think we should table these at this time because we have a,
Any objections to a table?
so we can find somebody who
It's tabled till next month. Human Relations Commission, Amber Ray has moved, so I need a nomination for that seat.
I'd like to nominate Michael Poplawski.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next nomination.
I'd like to nominate Shirley DeMarcus Brady.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
What's this one for? Same,
Next
same
nominee.
one?
It's all for the Human Relations.
Human Relations?
It's a reappointment.
Gotcha.
Next one.
I'd like to nominate Karen Rosado.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
The next one is Jane had moved out of Bristol, so there's an opening on that Human Relations Commission.
I'd like to nominate Steve Cullen.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The Planning Commission, John Doyle's served for many years and just can't do it anymore because of his position, so he wanted to step down, so I need a nomination for that position.
I'd like to nominate Donald McCluskey.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
The next one is for Frank Mosco, who passed away, and we never filled that seat, so I need a nomination for that.
I'd like to nominate Daniel Pajula.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
The Recreation Authority, we have a seat that needs to be reappointed, or a new person.
I'd like to reappoint Joe Adamson.
All those in favor? Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Zoning Board, we have one term.
I'd like to reappoint David Marucci.
Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
All our boards and commissions are now filled, except in December, we have 2 more terms that are coming up. Okay, anybody have anything else? I get a motion to adjourn. Louis, second by
Lorraine.